What is up, everybody? And happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Motor Stardom Show here on this fine March 10th evening, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Got a little quick 1 hour show for you. Mason Maggio is out west. He will not be joining us today. He's having a good time over there for the Phoenix Las Vegas swing, as everybody is. You'll notice all the podcasts and shows are different this week, as everyone kind of the point of the West Coast swings make it a little easier on the teams. So most everybody just kind of stays out there, hangs out during the week, and he gets to do the Phoenix to Vegas double in his number 91 DGM Racing Chevrolet. But we are here for what should be still a fun episode today. I'll be joined by Tanner Propella here in just a second, as well as Nick Corson, who is the owner, founder of the NFL Trades on Instagram, NFL Insider, and he'll be joining us to finish off the show later to talk about some football stuff, talk about your favorite football teams. Just had free agency. My New Orleans Saints are making some moves, so we're excited. But what's up to Seamus? What's up to Checker Flag Dan in the chat? We're going to be getting over some hot takes here in a second, but let me swing in here. Tanner Propella, who will be joining me to kind of review these hot takes, see what's going on. How are you doing? How are you feeling after these first 4 weeks of the NASCAR season? If anybody didn't know, big Ryan Blaney fan right here, so Tanner's on top of the world.
I couldn't be more excited that Ryan Blaney was the guy to put a stop and a halt to the Tyler Reddick hot start of his three-peat. I'm a Christopher Bell guy as well, so to see my drivers go 1-2 and not see Tyler Reddick in the top three is it's pretty nice to see. I'm liking the season so far. Phoenix was fun, but yeah, I'm excited to see what people have to say about these hot takes. I want to see what people what people think.
Yeah, no, there were some good ones in there. I queued them all here on the stream for us to go over. Don't know what order they're in. Can't really see them on my screen, so we're just gonna get started here with the first one. And Gavin B. Brown has the hot take up. Or no, it disappeared.
Nope.
Come back. There we go. So Gavin B. Brown says that Austin Cindric this year will win 2 non-super speedway races. I don't think it's the most super far-fetched take I've ever seen in my life. I think Austin Cindric is very underrated. His speed, I know Penske in general is really good at Phoenix, but Austin Cindric had some great speed this weekend. Got taken out middle of the race. We know he's really good on the super speedways. Wasn't incredible over there at Daytona, but that race was kind of weird. But I do think that they can make a significant threat to be a chase driver. I don't know about race winning. I could see him certainly winning a race this year, but I don't see him. I don't know, 2, maybe a stretch, but that's why we call it a hot take. Tanner, you got anything to say about that, Austin Cindric?
I feel like Austin Cindric's, like you said, I feel like he's faster than a lot of people think, and I feel like he's kind of unlucky. Like he was racing real well, and the Penske team raced as well at Phoenix, but he was doing what he can. He was up there for a little while, and he got wrecked. That's not really his fault. You get taken out of a race, you get wrecked. That stinks. But non-super speedway races, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of where he's at. I feel like that's kind of his thing. But I don't think he'll make the chase either. I mean, we're four races in, so I mean, a lot can happen. But I'm pretty sure he's in the 30s with points right now. I believe 31st, maybe 30 or something around there. But not in the chase. But for him to see 2 wins in general this year, I think that'd be cool. Not outside of super speed races though.
Yeah, he's unfortunately in a pretty fat hole here to start the year. Made a post earlier. Him, Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, all playoff drivers last year who are outside the top 29 in points right now. Obviously, a lot of time to make that up, but unfortunate to have to come back from a deficit this early in the season. Will the Thrill 4 says, I believe 2 Spire drivers will make the chase, and Daniel Suarez will finish 30th in points. Damn. First of all, Daniel Suarez has had a pretty solid start to the season so far. Spire has kind of as a whole, they've had the speed, maybe not the finishes they would have wanted, right? Daniel Suarez was 7th in points, I believe, going into Phoenix. Now he sits 17th. They had really good speed at Phoenix. He just wasn't able to finish the race, got back in traffic, wrecked himself basically, and then got caught up in another wreck to finish his race off. But you look at Michael McDowell, who's sitting 8th in the point standings right now. You look at Carson Hosfar, who's sitting 14th. I certainly think Spire wins races this year. Which drivers? I don't know. You'd like to think Carson Hosfar finally gets to victory lane this year. It's funny to say finally as a guy who's just getting started, but we feel he came so close last year, came so close this year already twice. But Daniel Suarez, to me, I don't think he finishes 30th. I think the team has shown they have enough speed. Again, very competitive. The NASCAR Cup Series always is, so it's hard to really, you know, uh, teams that finish in the back are going to surprise you because of the competition we have nowadays. But Suarez is a guy that right now I'm not convinced he makes the chase. He's a guy that really needs to prove it to me. For you, Tanner, Daniel Suarez is a guy that's had a lot of opportunities in NASCAR. He raced with Joe Gibbs Racing before the 2020s. He went to, he started out good and then it kind of trailed. Went to Stewart Haas Racing. People thought that would be good. And then it kind of trailed. Went to Trackhouse, his best opportunity yet. Probably his most successful yet, winning a few races. But then again, that kind of sunk. Wasn't really able to finish seasons and finish tenures at race teams strongly. So Daniel Suarez is a guy where I don't really care how he's doing race 4, race 7, even race 14. I need to see Daniel Suarez finish the season. Again, I don't think he does as bad as 30th, but I think he's maybe, from what I've still seen, what I've seen from him in just that 7 team, I think he's maybe a 23rd, 24th place driver. I don't know if you think any different.
I mean, if we're talking about two Spire drivers making the chase at the moment, and I think even going into the year, you would assume it would be McDowell and Carson Hocevar. I don't know if Daniel Suarez will finish. Like you said, I don't know if Daniel Suarez would finish 30th. Like those Spire cars are quick. You see Hocevar come out of absolutely nowhere. He'll start in the back of the pack, and he'll still make a top 15, top 10 finish. But yeah, I don't think that this is crazy. I think the craziest part is saying Daniel Suarez is going to finish that low. But yeah. I think two Spire drivers could finish in the chase.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. Hosfar and McDowell have been good to start this season, so we will see. Kind of staying here on the chase, Meister Hunter says with his current running, SVG will be a top 10 playoff driver this season.
I like this. I like this a lot. I think through these 4 races we've seen this year, I think SVG has done really well on tracks outside of road courses. Like he raced really well at Daytona. He's doing even on the road course. He didn't even win the road course, and that's like kind of your guy you expect to win the road course. He didn't even win the road course like he would last year. He dominated road courses last year, but he's doing well on super speedways. I think him finishing top 10 playoff driver is very realistic.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I think SVG is a guy that, I root for the guy because I root for stories, and I appreciate the journey that he made. A guy from New Zealand racing in Australia, had his career set there, right? Supercars, comes over, runs one NASCAR race, and then decides, hey, it's time. You know what? I'm gonna make the trip all the way over here to America. Come to our great country, and decide to make a career late in his career too. It's not like the guy's in his low 20s; he's in his upper 30s. This is an older guy that's been racing for a long time and decide to do that. I respect it a lot. I root for him. He's a fun guy. Everybody in the garage loves him, and he races hard. And clearly, he is set on learning. It's not easy. NASCAR, you don't get a lot of practice in any series. And so for him to be able to kind of build his notebook last year, he got a few starts in 2024, runs full-time last year, has some ups and downs, but I just noticed the speed the last half of the year at the tracks he was able to go to for a second time. He led laps in the Clash. Daytona, Atlanta gets good finishes. Obviously, Circuit of the Americas, he's going to run really well at the road course. But then Phoenix, The dude was in 3 crashes, 3 separate incidents. He flat tire, spun out again later coming up through the field. And then on that second time when he had to go to the back, was caught up in that big crash in turns 1 and 2. Fortunately, didn't get much damage and then goes all the way up to 11th place. So this guy's an absolute dog. I think SVG certainly makes the chase. Top 10, it'll have to be a fight for that, in my opinion. I think he's a guaranteed chase driver, and really excited that he's been able
And
to do.
before we get into this, to add to SVG, he was involved in 2 separate accidents at Daytona.
Yeah,
And
Daytona,
and he,
Atlanta. Too. Atlanta, he spun out twice.
it was Atlanta, yeah. He spun out twice, and he still had a good finish in Atlanta. Like, he's just powers through accidents or flat tires. Even if he spins himself out, he's like, "Nah, I'm staying in. I'm staying in. I'm not coming out." He stays in, and he gets like a top 12 finish. I think SVG's doing really well.
Yeah, he's an absolute dog. Love it for him. Here we got Matt Moskowitz says Spire will extend to 4 cars next year for KFB. Technically, that's not possible. Teams cannot. This isn't super widely known, I guess. It's not really put out there, but teams can't go to 4 cars anymore. Now, I will say with the redo and the charter stuff and the court case this week, maybe stuff changes. But as of now, teams can't go to 4 cars or can't expand unless they're already a 4-car organization. I think it's really weird and stupid. But anyways, for Kyle Busch, Jesse Loves goes to the 8-car. Kyle Busch to Spire has obviously been an interesting story that a lot of people have followed the last few years. He drives for Spire Motorsports in the truck series on a limited schedule. And clearly things with RCR aren't going too well. We gave this year as kind of the last. I mean, this year is the last shot for them to get it together. I know he knows it as a driver. Jim Pullman, very successful crew chief for Justin Allgaier last year in the Xfinity Series. He comes over, crew chiefs the 8-car now this year. So we're expecting, okay, puts it on the pole at Daytona. Here we go. Phoenix, they had an absolute sack of nuts for their race car. Finished top 20 because of all the crashes, and you got through these races and keep it clean and you can get yourself a decent finish. But for them, that's not what they want. They don't want to scrape and claw for 17th. Even Joey Logano's come out and said, if I'm in a position in my career where I'm scraping and clawing for not wins, I'm retiring. So Kyle Busch, it's hard. Obviously, he's not 2018 Kyle Busch, but this is a guy that can still win races. He won the truck race at Atlanta. So they're just struggling. I think RCR as a whole is struggling. Their cup program, Austin Hill drove the 33 this week, couldn't do anything. Austin Dillon was able to make some ground in the 3-car, but ultimately they didn't get the finish they needed. So I think they're just in a rough spot. They made a lot of personnel changes, so maybe that just needs to work out. But I still have faith in them. I still have faith for them to get something together because they have the right personnel. So the personnel's there. I think the drivers are there. But if it doesn't come together, then honestly, it's just the equipment at that point. You can only make so many changes and stuff like that before you just have to totally overhaul everything. So, I don't see Kyle going to Spire. I think if he made a move from RCR, he would go to the Hendrick 48. I think that's coming up here in a little bit, but guess we'll just have to see. But not impressed by their run so far this season. They are 20th in points.
Yeah, I like you said, you can't even extend a team to 4 cars, so that's just not possible. But I have a hot take I can add to this, which would be I think Kyle Busch will win a singular race this year. I mean, he's old. He's not the Kyle Busch we're used to see. He's not very dominant whatsoever. And I think that I even think that this could be his last year. He's not much younger anymore, and he's not winning races. He's out there in a crappy race car. So I think he could win a race this year, but he'll probably retire. I don't think he'll end up even wanting to switch teams or anything of that sort. I think he'll just retire.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Keeping it on SVG, Checkered Flag Dan comes out and says Hendrick struggles and SVG top 5 in points. So take that. I think he gets top 16. few hot takes ago, somebody said top 10. Checkered Flag Dan says the hell with all that. Shane Van Gisbergen is staying top 5 in the points. I don't know if he's just making that as a statement. He is right now, or saying at the end. Checkered Flag Dan's here. He can clarify. Or he's saying at the end of the regular season, Checkered Flag Dan or SVG will be in the top 5. I mean, look, I love the people back in SVG here. I think especially in the age of where social media is at, Twitter. I think people like to hate, people like to bring people down. I think SVG, haven't seen the support behind him has been really cool. So hey, if he's able to get top 5 in the points, shoot, I don't know. We'll see. I think all hell would break loose. And at that point, if you're top 5 in the points at the end of the season, seeing how well Shane Van Gisbergen can race and learn, championship favorite, maybe. That's what we're implying here. We'll see the end one. We're kind of all staying on the same. I know it switches up as we go down here. Kyle Busch will retire at the end of the year. It's kind of what Tanner almost alluded to here. A lot of people have alluded to. I don't think this would happen for a few reasons. Number one, just because I don't think so. Not this soon. And number two, Kyle Busch has said as long as he would stick to his word, I think it was a year or two ago, he said that towards the end of his career, when he retires from Cup, he's not going to retire from NASCAR. Maybe he runs Cup races here and there, but he says that he would run full time in the truck series. And then eventually when Brexton, his kid, gets old enough, they'll split a seat. And then when Brexton goes full time is when I think he would either run one more year or retire, something like that. Very, very set on what his kids, aspirations are going to do. But anyways, we'll move on. We're still Spire Hendrick Chevrolet. Carson Hocevar, this one's an interesting one because I've seen a lot of people been saying this lately. Carson Hocevar re-signing with Spire was a huge mistake. Now, for those who don't know, Carson Hocevar signed a contract extension with Spire Motorsports that stretches into the 2030s, into the next decade. So Carson's going to be there for a while. Now people were skeptical because of the way Chevrolet is, right? When people talk about the 48 for Hendrick Motorsports being open, the top Chevrolet name that people say is, oh, that'd be a perfect place for Carson Hocevar. So I think that's what the motive behind here was, is saying like, oh, he made a mistake making that long-term commitment to Spire when he could get a ride at Hendrick Motorsports. I disagree. I think it'd be cool for him to get a ride at Hendrick, but again, I do think Spire Motorsports is on the right track. They have a good relationship with Hendrick Motorsports as well. If anything, they're the 2311 Racing to Joe Gibbs Racing, Spire to Hendrick, 2311 to JGR, you know what I'm saying? In a way where they have, a good alliance, or they're pretty decently close on speed. I think the speed that we've seen, the thing I need to see more from Spire Motorsports is long run speed, probably. But I would have to say I don't think it's a crazy take just because of the possibilities that could be out there if he didn't sign that long-term extension. But I do think that Hocevar being with Spire Motorsports, I don't think it was a total mistake. I think they're only going to keep getting better for years to come, and I feel like that's what we've seen as well. I mean, he's being talked about, possibly winning races week in and week out. I think that's all you can ask for sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's a long contract to be on, and that's a long commitment to be committed to. But I think Carson Hocevar is the young guy that could really like put Spire Motorsports up there. I think like he's that close to winning races. He was the closest guy to Tyler Reddick not even fathoming three-peat in races. Like Carson Hocevar was the guy that was up there dominating with him. So I think that multiple races are up there for him to win this year. And I think it's going to be like that for a while.
Gotcha. I agree. Now I'm going to go to a few ones where I have two of them kind of keyed in together. Let's see. John Dog _33 said Jesse Love gets announced as the new driver for the 48 next year. And kind of on the same lines, TC McConnell Racing says maybe time to let Alex Bowman go, not only for skill reasons, but also because of his health. So Alex Bowman right now has vertigo, which said by many is not super easy to overcome. That's why he was out at Phoenix. Anthony Alfredo filled in for him. And this kind of, it all goes together. There's already been talks for years now about who would be in that 48 if Hendrick decides to let Alex Bowman go. Um, I did think this was a make or break season for him. When they were saying that he was possibly out of a ride 2 years ago, I was vouching for him. I was rooting for him. I believe Alex Bowman has talent. He still does. But now that things have elongated, last year was right. The he may be doing okay, right? But what are our standards for a Hendrick Motorsports driver? And I do believe, unless obviously he comes back from this, sets the world on fire. Um, I do believe they move on from him at some point, and I think now's the time to do it. Because number one, I think Alex Bowman will find a home somewhere, obviously. But number two, Chevrolet and Junior Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports, they got a great pipeline right now. I think Jesse Love, definitely someone to watch. But you look at their O'Reilly Auto Parts Series program, and I look at a lot of guys that maybe not next year, but definitely the year after that, or depending on what year they have this year, right? We're just getting this year started. But you look at guys like Sammy Smith, whose people are mixed on, but he's impressed me. Carson Quapple, I think paired with Rodney Childers this year, he almost should have won Phoenix. I think he's someone to watch. Rajah Caruth, he's someone to watch. Chevrolet, JRM, they have definitely a good selection of guys in their pipeline. Now, realism aside, if I was in charge of Hendrick Motorsports, I would have put Corey Heim in the 48 yesterday, snatched him from Toyota. But it doesn't seem like that would happen. But I do believe, unless Alex Bowman comes back, sets the world on fire, I think it would be time for Hendrick to move on from him and look at this big group of Chevrolet prospects that we have coming up the pipeline. Sheldon Creed, you can even throw in there. Got to win some more races, but Sam Mayer as well. A lot of guys in this pipeline that I think could be fit for that 48. Say they do kick Alex Bowman to the curb.
I mean, if they really think Alex Bowman can come back and shit, get a couple top fives, win a race or something, I think they'll keep him around. But if now's the time where he's not healthy and they're desperately looking for a replacement, I mean, Jesse Love could get that job. I would like you said, I'd like to see Corey Heim get that. I think that would be I think that'd be great for Hendrick Motorsports. But they'll probably end up moving on. That's pretty realistic.
I love me some Corey Heim. We're going to do one more of these, and we're going to take a break for another segment and then come back and do a few more. This one I thought was funny. Russell Dalen, Ty Gibbs demoted to the O'Reilly Series if he doesn't make the playoffs. No, he's makes sense, right? You could look at that and be like, man, somebody Joe Gibbs Racing doesn't make the chase top 16 and points, get the hell out of here. But let's be honest, that is Joe Gibbs' grandson. With all we've heard about this Chris Gabehart lawsuit, NGFH, that's an acronym I like to use. Not gonna bleep and happen if he misses the chase. So Ty Gibbs isn't going anywhere. He's in that 54 for as long as possible. And we will just leave it at that. Nonetheless, I want to get into a quick segment here. Brought it last week or debuted it last week. Thankfully, we have started a wonderful partnership with one of Mason Maggio's partners, Control Law Protect. And they are sponsoring a segment I like to call What Are We Doing? So every week I pick out something stupid or crazy or whatever and kind of just say, what are we doing? So this week, just give you a quick preview, Formula One, they had their first race of the year. And Formula One is very, they've been very adamant on, just being pure racing, straight up racing, right? No stages, no antics, no playoffs, blah, 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 right? Or at least that's what you think, right? So this week in Formula One, what are we doing? Control, Alt, Protect. Hackers hate us. Hackers don't like them because they fight the hackers. Anyways, Formula One this week debuted a new race package, a new car that basically creates more passing. All right, we've seen this story before. NASCAR did it. So how are the F1 fans reacting? Well, they're pretty pissed off. How are the drivers reacting? They're even more pissed off because now, basically, as you can see here, car out front loses battery, right? I'm not too look, I cover NASCAR. I watch F1 too and try to cover it as well. So I'm learning more about this package. But basically, it seems like we have created a package that kind of, minimalizes the skill a little bit, keeps these cars closer together. We saw this with NASCAR in 2018. NASCAR brought this type of package. We thought it was really cool. Watched it the first time. Like, I got to say, I watched this race at midnight, right? It was awesome. These guys battling for the lead for the first 10 laps, and then they get spread out. Nothing really happens. That's kind of what the 550 package was like. So for me, I know, Tanner, you haven't seen, the NASCAR, how much it's changed really since 2018. But basically, NASCAR had that type of pure racing, spread out racing. There were no stages. It was you dropped the green. If you didn't have a caution, we ran straight to the end. But in 2018, they decided to experiment with debuting a lower horsepower package, which means we're slowing down the cars, raising the spoiler, which means there's more draft. And we had a racing package from 2019 to 2021 at select tracks that was, pardon my French, absolute dog shit, in my opinion. And it created for, restarts. All right, 3 and 4 wide, cool, exciting, because we had stages too. So we got so many restarts, but it took away the pureness of the racing. So now, thankfully, I still think the next gen car is a piece of junk, but they have raised the horsepower in that a little bit. So we're starting to get some more pure racing back, but we do still have the stages. But the problem, real quick, that I look at for Formula One is once you make these changes and once you're like, all right, we're going to add these stages, we're going to add cautions, we're going to lower the horsepower, it's really hard to go back. It's really hard to go back. So now that Formula One has decided that they are going to have a car, right? There were a lot of reasons that I read, more environmentally, friendly, this, that, whatever. But at the end of the day, they have made a package where seemingly, yes, we're going to see a lot more overtakes, a lot more passing, but it's going to come at the expense of the drivers being pissed off. They're going to get used to it. They're going to drink the Kool-Aid just like NASCAR drivers do. Now, I will say this is a little bit more drawback in the media than we saw in NASCAR. I mean, these drivers came out and literally say, hey, this car stinks. This is the worst thing I've ever driven in my life. Lando Norris won the championship last year, came out and said, yeah, we've come from the best cars ever made to the worst. And I think later on, legit just said, car sucks. So I think if a NASCAR driver said that, that'd be a couple 6 figures to the bank minus going to NASCAR charity or something like that. But certainly something that is interesting. And I know a lot of Formula One fans will keep their mind on. I believe they race again this weekend. So if you love F1, we'll see how the racing is this weekend. Let's rate a few more hot takes before we jump into some ball. Chris Gollin said still about 1% chance Briscoe misses the chase. I think he makes it. I think we'll pencil that in. Lots to talk about SVG, definitely so far, but I think Connor Zilich and Ross and all 3 Trackhouse can make the chase. What do you think about that, Tanner?
It would be cool to see Connor Zilich in there. I was Dale Earnhardt Jr. guy, so to see a young buck in the 88 truly puts a smile on my face. That'd be really cool. I think Ross Chastain. I like Ross Chastain. I hopped on the Ross Chastain. I don't want to say bandwagon because there's nothing really bandwagon, but I hopped on the Ross Chastain train when he said I'm either seeing God or a checkered flag, and he rode that wall. So it'd be cool to see all 3 of them in it.
The Hail Melon. That was a lot of people turning their heads watching that. We're right through the last few ones here. If Corey LaJoie runs a full season of trucks or O'Reilly, he'd be a multi-race winner. It depends what he's in. We haven't seen him run a full season in decent stuff. He's just been running the back marker stuff. Ran Spire Cup, obviously, a few years. Didn't have super success there. So, I don't know. I'm not too confident that crazy stuff would happen, but maybe in the truck series, I could see it, but I don't think I've ever seen him drive an O'Reilly car. Another Kyle Busch take here, predicting Kyle Busch leaves RCR after 2026. Kind of talked about that already just a little bit, going to Hendrick for a 2-year contract. Again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, this is the only place I could see him going, was going to Hendrick Motorsports for a couple years. But if that's not available, I just see him kind of giving up. I mean, you could go to Spire if the 7 gets available, but it just depends how good they are. So, we'll find out. 41 Lilt says, won't see as much Gibbs Hendrick dominance on ovals. Yeah, I mean, I think the parity's certainly there. RFK's gotten a lot better. We just saw Ryan Blaney and Penske, as a whole dominate Phoenix. So, there's a start there. I think we're really going to see this week's a testament of where people are at, is Las Vegas this weekend for sure. And then the last one, oh yeah, Jared Burns, right on, dude. Racing would improve dramatically with significant boost in horsepower, 900 plus. I certainly agree. Anyways, enough race car, enough wheel. We got a great show next week where Austin Green is joining us, Ryan Ellis is joining us, Mason Maggio will be back. Possibly a few other cameos on our 2-hour show that will return next week. Please tune in. It's going to be an amazing time. But guess what? We're not done yet. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking about ball because it was a big day the last few days. NFL free agency. Give you a little preview what's coming up this year. If you watched our watch-alongs this year, or if you watched when we had DeJuan Jones on the show, talking a lot of ball. We're going to be talking it this year. So let's get the trio back together. Football season, I've been missing it. Not gonna lie. Monday nights get bored, watch WWE. Thursday nights get really bored because ain't shit on the TV. But Nick, of course, NFL trades. Welcome, man.
What is up, guys? Happy to be here as well. Appreciate you having me on.
No, it's been an off season for sure. I mean, it's still just a little over a month ago we had the Super Bowl, but out of all sports, NFL really has the longest off season. I mean, NASCAR barely even has an off season. We're off for 2.5 weeks, but even when we're off, people are still racing every weekend, so there's stuff going on. Basketball, I feel like when they finish the season, summer league starts like the next morning. There's no time to rest there. Baseball, pretty decent, okay, long off season, but football, damn, it's an eternity, and it makes sense because it's a hard hitting sport. But don't we got the UFL in a few weeks, boys?
We do.
Yeah, Orlando's got it. I forgot who our quarterback is, but I will be rooting on Orlando. Maybe going to a game.
Does Pittsburgh have a UFL team? Is that
I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. I don't know. I've never really. I don't think I've sat down and watched more than one UFL game in a calendar year. I think it's more of like a one game a year thing. I'm like, oh, football's back, kinda, and then I watch it and I'm like, I don't know who these guys are.
They need to go out and have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, why can't Johnny Manziel come in and sling it? Like, why can't they bag?
All controversy aside, where's Colin Kaepernick?
Working out. That's what he says.
Just stop trying to make your NFL return and stick to spring football. Stick to the UFL or something like that.
UFL spring football could go crazy if they just because you look at if anybody knows the big three basketball, they get all the whether they're names that used to play overseas or they went played pro and they retired. Those games are pretty cool. A lot of names in there, a lot of big names. So I would certainly love to see some bigger names play in the UFL. But boy, there were a lot of moves that happened. NFL free agency. We'll talk about some of the top moves, and then we're going to look at our teams, which is my New Orleans Saints, your guys' Pittsburgh Steelers, and I live in Tampa, and Tanner likes the Bucks too. So we're going to look at the Bucks too because we're here in Tampa. So I guess on that note, we'll look at one of the bigger bombshells from free agency. Checker flag day in the chat. Titans spending cash. They're going in a new coach, new OC. Titans are getting some people. Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be
Wan'Dale Robinson. Oh yeah.
But how about this very strange visual here? Mike Evans is going to be in a San Francisco 49ers jersey, being a guy that lives in Tampa, talking to the people of Tampa. Very shocked by the move. Me personally, I think the Bucs will be just fine. But the heart is what hurts here in Tampa. But San Francisco, start with you, Nick. It's going to be a great offense here. Obviously, they've had their share of star, quote-unquote receivers throughout the years. They had Debo. Now they've tried to find that guy. I guess Brandon Ayuk didn't really work out, but now we got Mike Evans in the fold to go along with McCaffrey and Brock Purdy, who had some doubters last year, and Mac Jones came in, but I guess proved that he's going to keep that job and keep taking this team to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that he completely moves the needle, but they're clearly sending a signal that this is a boom or bust season. They are understanding that their window is fading. George Kittle is not getting any younger. Christian McCaffrey is not getting any younger or healthier. It's now or never. Obviously, you have Brock Purdy to stay. That's your foundation. But Mike Evans, if he can give you that 1,000-yard receiving season that he's given to the Bucs, how many years in a row? Like, and he can stay healthy. They will be a force to be had here in San Francisco, but I can't sit here and say that they paid them a good or like he got paid an amount that I can sit there and be like, yeah, that was a good move. Like it was a lot of money that they did forfeit in this signing, and they obviously that now they can't pay Trent Williams, which they never were able to pay Trent Williams because what if he was asking, but they're gonna have to find something that can shore up that line because Trent Williams has done so much for this team. So if they can do something like that, this offense can be scary, but Trent Williams leaving is going to be something to watch that's going to have to be addressed at some point, whether it be in the draft or maybe they make a trade.
Guess we'll see. What about you, Tanner?
I think, you bring up the money aspect, Nick, of what they gave Mike Evans, and I think it's egregious. They're giving him what, 27 mil a year,
it's, 3 for 60.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I know Mike Evans is in his 30s, but there's kind of two sides to that story there. I mean, Mike Evans is one of the more consistent wide receivers in NFL history, not even in modern NFL right now. In NFL history, he went 13 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He fell short last year due to an injury. He was about like 225 yards short, and he missed 6 to 7 weeks. No 6-7 reference intended. But they gave him a good bit of money, and they're going to have to reconstruct someone on that offense or defense to keep Trent Williams there, or Trent Williams gets over it and he's like, okay, I'm not going to get the money I want, but this is my home. So as a Buccaneers guy, it hurts, but if you're a San Francisco 49er fan, this is pretty big for y'all. So I think they can make the NFC is much stronger and always has been than the AFC. Not that it mattered to Mike Evans, but the NFC is even stronger now. The Rams are making big moves. Rams, I think, are my Super Bowl pick. But if the Niners want to make a push, I don't know if this will get them over it, but I think it'll help.
Yeah, I think like you said, for the Niners, I think Nick said too. Doesn't move the needle, moves a little bit, right? We have to see, look, any given Sunday, these seasons, it takes a lot to put a good football team together, a complete football team together, right? You address one issue, you got to move on to the next. That's how it is with most teams. So we'll see how they all piece it together. Not the end of the off season. Still got, still some free agency pieces, still some trades that are going to happen, still the draft in April that's going to happen over in Pittsburgh. So a lot of things that still have to happen. But for the Bucs, and I'll just go ahead and we'll bring up their proposed potential starting offense here for the season. Made the graphic an hour ago, so if anything's wrong, sorry. But you look at this offense, and this is why I believe they're going to be just fine.
Who's Emmanuel Egbuka?
Did I mess that up? Yeah,
yes,
I did.
His
name is not Emmanuel.
He was Christ among us last season. He was playing out of his mind.
But nonetheless, so we got, Baker Mayfield running the helm, and I think as long as he comes back in one piece, like last year, he struggled toward the end of last year, but he also was beat up, right? So how much can we blame on Baker? How much was he okay? Guy was banged up, the guy was injured. This year will be the real testament for him. Come back, stay healthy. You got an offseason to rehab. But the running back duo here, Bucky Irving, obviously we just, because of his name, hope he's in Tampa Bay forever. Like he shouldn't go anywhere else in his career. But like any running back, I'm sure he'll just be kicked to the curb in about 4 years. But then running back 2, though, Kenneth Gainwell over now in Tampa Bay. Gainwell has always been solid in his career, but really took off last year because they used the hell out of him. The Steelers, I mean, he literally was the Steelers' offense at some points, and you guys know that better than anybody. So Steelers don't bring him back. They got a really good running back that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But they get Kenneth Gainwell here, the Bucks. It's really just about how are you going to use him? How are they going to use him? Now they got, the offensive coordinator that the Falcons had last year. Offense is going to look a little different. We'll see what happens. But the receiver room's what everybody's talking about. And they got Chris Godwin, number 1. Not Emmanuel Ibuka, but Amika Ibuka. Ibuka, Ooga Booga dude, as Flight React says, wide receiver 2. Jalen McMillan, though, big opportunity for him here. Okay. He's going to have the opportunity to be wide receiver 3 here. And then Tez Johnson, the rookie last year that impressed many, is technologically speaking going to be wide receiver 4, which on a lot of teams he could probably be better than that.
I think he would. I think he's the ideal wide receiver 3 on this Bucks team. I mean,
that's what I do on Madden, but
he even looked like a wide receiver 3 for that team last season. He had a couple touchdowns last year.
I don't know how they fit everybody on the field. I mean, Sterling Shepard was getting receptions too. I'm like, you guys have like 7 receivers in this room. As a New Orleans Saints fan, I could use one of them. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sick of throwing to Kevin Austin Jr. But no disrespect, guys, great. But anyways, the Bucks, I've always felt like just have had a really great, since the Super Bowl year, I've just had a really great wide receiver room. I mean, when Scotty Miller, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6, going out there catching tutties, you got a good receiver room. So what do you think of this offense, Nick? Obviously, you saw a lot of Gainwell last year. What do you think he can bring? And as far as what, their new OC is capable of, do you have faith in him, I guess, to use all these weapons correctly?
I think, historically, Tampa Bay's, like you said, Tampa Bay's kept a pretty very well-versed depth at the wide receiver position group, and I've had a true respect for that. You think they're done drafting receivers, and then they go and draft another one, and then you think that's it, and they're like, oh, they have 3 really good guys, they're going to stop doing it, and then they draft another one, and then someone leaves. So they're always just shoring that up for the future. That's always something they've always kept going, and they've always had a good wide receiver core in my eyes as a football fan watching for all these years. So I've really had I've truly respected them for that. And now they have a different type of versatile running back group in Bucky and Kenneth, and that will provide 2 different things for them. And obviously they're going to lose Sean Tucker, but I think Kenny Gainwell obviously provides more than Tucker did. And Kenny Gainwell, for God's sakes, was the lead receiver in the Steelers offense and literally was pretty much number 1 option on that offense last year. So he'll definitely, it's not like he's going to be that for this team, but he's definitely going to provide something that Sean Tucker or any of the other backs, or I honestly think he's better than Rachaad White, but he's going to provide things for this team that they didn't have that last year. And I thought Cade Otton, they didn't overpay him. Good signing, good re-signing, bring him back. That's cool. I'm really excited about this offense if everybody can stay healthy, especially Baker.
Yeah.
I think Kenneth Gainwell really opens up that offense. I mean, he was the leading receiver over DK freaking Metcalf in Pittsburgh last year. And I think him being a much better receiving back than Sean Tucker, and I think he was a better running back than Rachaad White. I think if used correctly, I think he really opens up that offense for receiving as like a receiving back. He throw him the ball on plays where no one's open downfield. He can break open, make a play. He can make great catches. He's a hard runner. I think the Bucks win the division with this offense. It's more about that defense.
Yeah, exactly. The defense is a big exclamation point. That's almost what you guys are saying over in Steelerville. is, all right, here's the offense, but what are we going to do with this defense? So let's transition over to it. Nonetheless, hopefully I spell everybody correctly here. I know the receiver room will kind of change a little bit. I'm not sure. I was trying to make sure to research on where contracts are at and everything. I know it seemed there are a few people on Twitter thinking Calvin Austin's going to come back. I don't believe that's going to happen from what I've seen. I would assume he'll be going somewhere else. But the Steelers, we also assume that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and man this team. His head coach Mike McCarthy's back. He's got a hell of a lot of weapons here, getting Michael Pittman back. A running back that exploded last year, Rico Dowdle. I think that is an awesome pickup to almost pair with Jalen Warren here, a guy that also had some great sparks last year, I felt. But nonetheless, I will ask the Yinzers here. I will ask the Steelers fans, for anybody that watched our watch-alongs or yaps, there was a lot of maybe lack of optimism sometimes in the Steeler camp. Where does the optimism lie here in the Steelers fan camp for your guys' team?
I'll start it out. I still think we should take I think one of our higher draft picks still should be a wide receiver just because of the wide receiver talent that's there. And I just don't know if I could really believe in Roman Wilson anymore. I mean, he got 2 garbage time touchdowns last season, and that was the most we saw out of him. And it all came down to Calvin Austin or Kenneth Gainwell, and Roman Wilson was not utilized or never saw the field. And I feel like there's some off the field issues as to why he's not seeing the field. So to draft a younger guy who would be much, much younger than DK and Michael Pittman and really develop him in the Steelers offense as years go on would be smart. We need that linebacker depth. We partially covered the cornerback issue with signing Jamel Dean. I think that was really massive. I think the Steelers overall won the first day or even 2 days. I haven't seen anything important today in free agency. I'm very optimistic. I wasn't too happy about Mike McCarthy, but I'm happy about the coordinators he's hired.
Yeah, I think as now, I'm sure Nick is moving. We don't have the Shefty bomb notification. We don't have the Nick bomb notification here, NFL trades bomb. But it appears the Steelers have re-signed Cam Hayward or have agreed to a 1-year contract extension for Cam Hayward that will value $32.25 million in total, according to Adam Schefter, $16.25 fully guaranteed. Is that good for the Steelers? Nick, I'll let you go.
No.
Too much bread for the old man.
Look, he had one of his best seasons last year. I'll give him that. Like, it's truly, but there's a point where you got to let go of the leash and stop giving this man as much money as he's getting. I just at some point, like, it's either you take a cheap veteran deal to return, or you go test your market at what your age is, 30, whatever. He's up there, right? 37, somewhere around there. You go test that market and get told, yeah, we're not giving you much money, and you either retire or you take a cheap veteran deal with us. Like, that's what you tell someone, even though I respect Cam Hayward, what he's done for this organization, what he's done for the community of Pittsburgh. It's truly, this man's been Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate for so many years. Like, he deserves all the praise and veneration from us Pittsburgh people, but at some point you just have to let go of the leash. And I can't, like, Aaron was able to take that cheap deal. If he takes another cheap deal, cool. I'm cool with another 1 year, 15 mil. That's fine. But Cam Hayward receiving all this money has been getting out of hand.
I was actually going to bring up the point that Nick just said of, go test where you're worth. Go ask other teams with the money you're asking from us and see what they give you. No other team would give Cam Hayward $16.5 million guaranteed on, what'd you just say, 32 mil? That, like, no other team would ever debate about doing that. Like, they would tell you, you're really freaking funny if you think that's possible. We're not even gonna try. And he would come crawling back, or he'd retire. Like, I think the Steelers front office thinks we owe so much to players. Like no other team. I'm happy with Aaron Rodgers, and I wasn't happy with him originally, but no other team last offseason even thought about bringing Aaron Rodgers. But we're like, yeah, sure. But now we're waiting around on Aaron Rodgers, like Checkered Flag Dan just said, when's Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat over? The Steelers front office would love to know that because they're waiting around on him. They're waiting for him to be like, yeah, I'm coming back, or hey, I'm not coming back. We just feel like we owe so much to players that we really don't, and I think that's a very high overpay.
Yeah, I would say so. Speaking of pay, apparently Pat Ricard just is the highest paid fullback in the NFL. Yeah, signed with the Giants. Another
Harbaugh
guy over there in New York. His moves still continue to come together here, but yeah, it just seemed, I don't know. The only thing I would see of it is the Steelers have made all the moves that they're going to make, signed all the people, and just said, here's our remaining money, Cam, because we love you or something. I don't know. And that's why they waited. I don't know. That's my only assumption. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, not an ideal signing there. A lot of money to go to a veteran. But as they showed last year, clearly the front office is not afraid to toss a bunch of money at a bunch of old people.
It's definitely a Rooney move than it is a Con move.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Oh my gosh, dude! If we want to get into Art Rooney, I could throw a fit right now, but I'm not gonna do that.
we can have the Art Rooney episode at some point. We'll move on from Steel City just for a tiny bit. Talk about some other moves before we get to my Saints. This was really, I believe, the first, or at least one of the first moves that was announced official. Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker, which a lot of casuals probably look at it. They're like, what the hell, right? Like, you just won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and now you go to the Chiefs, who had a down year, right? Like, I guess if you were to explain it in NBA terms, it's like if you'd alter the Kevin Durant deal, or not saying he's Kevin Durant caliber, but Kevin Durant, but he won the title with the Thunder and goes to the injury-ridden veteran Warriors after. But interesting moves for sure. For the Chiefs, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. They needed to fill a running back void, a star running back void. That's what you feel like they kind of were always missing if you were to say the Chiefs were missing something. So now they go out and get Kenneth Walker. Obviously had a spectacular year last year, sharing the backfield with Charbonnet. The Seahawks, who knows how hurt they are about this, truly. Haven't really. You've seen a lot of teams that have lost a running back make a counter move. It seems like, right? The Bucks, they lose Rashad White, so they replace it with Kenneth Gainwell. Steelers lose Gainwell, they bring in Rico Dowdle. Chiefs, seemingly lose, walk away from Pacheco.
Pacheco signed with the Lions today.
Pacheco with the Lions, but the Lions had moved on from Montgomery. They were like, okay, what are the Lions going to do here? They get Pacheco. So see what the Seahawks do with that. But definitely interesting move here. And, we'll see when Pat comes back. Travis Kelce's coming back. I thought this was going to be the deal where the Chiefs are going to not give it one more shot because Pat's going to play for a long time. But as far as, I guess, with Travis Kelce and with that same crew, I think they definitely they're not tanking. They're not, doing that. They're going at it. Chiefs are going to keep going, keep plugging.
Yeah, yeah, I will say Mr. Kenneth over here provides something they haven't had in Kansas City since, I'll say, Jamal Charles. This to me is something that they are doing because, for me, Pacheco, what they saw was after he had fractured his right fibula, he just wasn't the same. Like, he just had no elusiveness. Like, there was no speed, agile. Like, it wasn't the same back that they saw the year prior. So they just were it's not like he's a bad back. And what's awesome is he gets to go to Detroit now, where he doesn't, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is going to provide something that allows him to kind of just be in a different role than he was in Kansas City. And those expectations will not be on him because Gibbs is just one of one. So this now just, I think it works out for both Walker and Pacheco alike.
Yeah, I would say the same as well. Chiefs look good. Offense looks good. If they come back, they're healthy. Kelsey's still moving a little bit. Mahomes is still looks like himself after that tear. We'll see what they look like. Now, shift focus. Team with a new quarterback. 2 lefty quarterbacks in their room. Very interesting move here. The Atlanta Falcons facepalm from Tanner's the reaction to this signing. The Falcons, new president of football operations, new head coach. What are we going to do to bombshell for the organization? We're going to bring in Tua to play quarterback.
I just want to know what went through the front office's head. Well, I could say front office. I want to know what went through Matt Ryan's head, thinking, "Oh, let's bring in Tua. Let's have the Tua Michael Penix QB competition in camp this summer. Let's see how that goes." Sure, you could bring up 3 years ago when Tua led the league in passing yards, but three years afterwards, he's probably gained a concussion each year since then, and I just think that he's a different player now. He's not the leading and passing yards kind of guy anymore. His accuracy is kind of gone. Still injury prone, probably 8 concussions down the hatch. I mean, him or Penix, that's pick your poison. That's not going to be great.
What are your thoughts, Nick?
I mean, I think they're just admitting that they completely failed at what they did, and obviously that was all up to Mr. Terry Fontenot out like that. That's why he's no longer a part of this team, and they've acknowledged that was just poor management at the head of everything. And obviously, Arthur Blank is not, the best owner, as many Falcons will tell you. So for me, it's just like they're just trying to salvage something, and obviously, Michael Penix is not guaranteed to be there ready to go week 1. So they need something to obviously get people wanting to come to the stands. So they felt like this was the right move. And whether it works out or not, they're obviously going to be looking towards probably 20. Yep. Just what Checkered Flag Dan said. Looking towards the 2027 quarterback draft, which, by the way, is stacked. That is a stacked class. There's about maybe 8 quarterbacks that could go in the first round. There's probably 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you've never heard of, like CJ Carr, the one guy from USC. There's probably a couple guys that you've never heard of that have a chance of actually inserting their names for first round.
Is CJ Carr the Notre Dame QB?
No, I can't remember. He's from what college is it? See, I don't watch much college, but I just hear the names. I cannot remember what college it's from. There's a guy. I think there's a quarterback from. I want to say not Cincinnati, but it might be Cincinnati. But anyways,
the Cincinnati guy transferred.
Okay. There's just so many. There's just so many guys like that you can take a pick. I haven't looked at all of them yet, but I'm excited. I mean, we have a couple guys that didn't go in this draft that probably could have been first round picks, like Lenore Sellers or Dante Moore. But that's who the Falcons are going to be looking at. All those guys. This is just a swing for the fences, and guess what? They paid him nothing, and they don't gotta pay any of his contract from Miami. That's all on Miami. Miami's spending like maybe $70 million on a quarterback this season because they had to pay Malik Willis all that money. So
they
do have to pay Kirk still this year. So
yeah, that's a great point. I think the end of that is like, I think it's that situation that's like, okay, low risk, high reward because they're not paying him a bunch of money. It's just like the wrong team that you would have wanted to see doing it, I guess. If somebody else brought into it as a backup or, a different role, it would have been different. But clearly Atlanta has intention. It's just everything that goes behind it, right? They're already signing a quarterback that they probably intend on making the starter over a guy they drafted the same year that they gave a bunch of money to Kirk Cousins. So it's like the sequence of events here have been quite frankly horrible. And as a New Orleans fan, I love it. I mean, I love what the Ravens are doing here.
If the Falcons,
Yeah, it was Notre Dame, by the way.
it was Notre Dame, yeah. If the Falcons are trying to achieve their goal of drafting their franchise guy next year, sadly enough, the Jets have them beat as they did sign Geno Smith in hopes that they get the higher overall pick for Arch Manning next year. So I mean, there's plenty more quarterbacks out there, but if Arch Manning's the guy the Falcons are chasing, and if they are trying to tank, they're not going to get it. I think the Jets have that locked up. The Jets have what, 4 first-round picks next year?
I think it's 3.
They have 2 or 3. I know that. Like the Jets are going to have. Oh, hello.
The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of the trade for Max.
What the hell? I thought this was a joke.
The Raiders have just announced.
I wasn't looking at my phone. I thought this was a joke, bro.
Just announced.
No way, bro.
Story from the Raiders. Crosby.
And there goes Nick.
The Ravens have backed out. So
what the hell, bro?
The Raiders.
No way.
Clearly, this is a statement put together by the Raiders. It's not on their social medias, but it was put out by Adam Schefter, 8 o'clock show. The Ravens have backed out of the Max Crosby trade. Now, this was a trade that was made just recently. It was one of, put on the list as multiple first-round picks, right? Something that doesn't happen every day, obviously, in the NFL. And so now they have backed out of the trade, which is something that we haven't never seen before. The last time I remember something this big happening like that was when it wasn't the team, but wasn't it when Antonio Brown got traded to the Bills?
Yep.
I believe. And that trade was there and then not there, but for different reasons, obviously. But something that, and this is interesting. It will be interesting to see what the reason is here, right? Max Crosby forever was having beef with the organization a little bit towards the end of last year with them wanting to sit him. Then eventually it seemed like it got to a point where a trade was fine with happening. It seemed like he wanted to be a Raider, but they get him out of there. People were kind of comparing it to the Myles Garrett situation of like, how long are you going to be loyal to a team that is not good, go contend. So he gets traded to the Ravens. Everybody's like, oh boy. All right, here we go. They have big news in their division as well, obviously, or the Ravens division, obviously, the AFC North, big time as far as Steelers fans, Joe Burrow fans, really scared. But now it's not happening. It's been backed out. Now we don't know if this will reconcile itself. Will they just work out another deal? Seemingly, when these types of things happen, it just doesn't happen at all.
So unfortunately, I liked the Max Crosby to Ravens deal because that means the Ravens wouldn't have had their first round pick to draft a receiver this year. But now that they don't have Max Crosby and they're gonna get that first round pick, they're gonna end up drafting a good receiver. I was really looking forward to that crappy offense and Zay, I can't hold on to the football flowers at wide receiver 1 still, but that's no longer going to happen. But to each their own. No way in hell Brady trades.
Check flag Dan was on it. The breaking news. Crazy stuff there. That will certainly be a development that will be worked out here soon. But now, let's switch things over to the boys. Now, let me tell you guys something. You may see a name on this list. It's not on our team right now, but I believe it's going to happen. So, look at a team right here, the New Orleans Saints. We're in a division that is all right. You never know. right? Anybody's game. Clearly not the Atlanta Falcons division this year, so we're going to say there's 3 teams competing. We got the Panthers, who technically won it last year. The Bucks, who technically didn't win it last year. And then the Saints, who started out really terrible. We were awful at football. And then all of a sudden, we put in Tyler Shuck, and he proves in a few games that he could potentially be franchise quarterback. Now, hope we didn't jump the gun too soon. That's why I do hope we sign a veteran quarterback here to play backup. Hey, Joe Flacco, come on out, baby. We'll give you $900K. But anyways, Saints, just besides the people on this list, we've signed guard David Edwards, 4 years, $61 million, get some offensive line help. It's the first time in a while that we've signed an offensive lineman like that. We usually just draft them and then they get injured in a few years and then they die and we never see them again. So I like this signing here. Caden Ellis, we just signed, linebacker, 3 years, $33 million. A lot of people calling him a very underrated guy. I have to do some film study. I don't really know about Caden Ellis, but I like it. 3 years, $33 million for a guy that a lot of people have been like, damn, all right, cool, sounds good. And baby, I mean, our greatest signing of all, Ryan Wright, punter. 4 years, $14 million to the punter, baby. The punter market is going crazy here. If you look at this offense, we got Shuck, Travis Etienne, beautiful signing. I love it. Something I didn't even have in my mind. But we go ahead and we get a running back who, okay, Alvin Kamara could retire. But even if he sticks around, I like it. I like bringing Etienne. He's going to be our number 1 back. If Alvin Kamara stays, kind of transition to him and do a lesser role, but also more into the passer game where I felt like he was a lot better when we had Mark Ingram, when we had Latavius Murray. So much better in a 2 running back set to where they could carry the heavy running up the middle load, and Alvin Kamara could be that passing guy on the outside. Wide receiver room, obviously, baby, could we get some Carnell Tate action? I would love it. I think 100% we are drafting a receiver with our first pick. If we don't, I'm going to be very upset because our receiver room is a UFL team, literally. So to be able to get Carnell Tate, hopefully number 1 or in the first round, pair him with Chris Olave. Chris Olave can be wide receiver 2. I think that's great for Chris Olave. When we fill out our 3s and 4s, Devon Vele, I think is pretty good. Jalen Polk is a guy that the Patriots are really high on before. It didn't work out. Now we have him. Let's see what he's capable of when he's healthy this year. Then we go out and sign Noah Fant, 2 years, $875 million. Love it. Let's get some Noah Fant action in here. I think he's been pretty good. His places that he's been at, we needed a change of scenery at tight end. No disrespect to Juwan Johnson, but you know what? Tight end 2. That's where you're going to be at. And then we got our kicker signed on for forever. And then our punter signed on for forever. So I don't know, man. You guys with me on the optimism for the New Orleans Saints?
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
It's the most optimistic I've been since the Drew Brees era. Besides maybe when Jameis Winston dropped his nuts on the Packers, and I really thought we were going to do something that year. I'm excited. Kellen Moore, we had a great scheme last half of the year. Hey, Brandon Staley was getting that defense together a little bit. We got some new guys on our defense. We're not going to have the leaders in Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, but I think we'll be all right. We spare the money, don't have to pay them. We get some younger guys out there. I think I'm optimistic, man. I'm really optimistic. Draft's going to be a fun night. Watch and see who we pick.
I think you guys either go wide receiver or edge for sure. I'm with Checker Flag Dan. That wide receiver is definitely going to be a top priority with that first pick. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to be excited about. You got dare I say, a younger, sprier, or more spry version of Alvin Kamara in ETN. So I didn't even notice you had Carnell Tate. Sorry, I was I'm trying to figure out why the Max thing didn't work out, but yeah, I mean, Tate or Mekhi Lemon, definitely someone they're definitely eyeing up with that first pick. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to really be and Vele, I really do like Vele, I really do. It's just a matter of him being on the field, but this is definitely something to be excited about if you're a Saints fan. I mean, it's only going up. I mean, that division is so winnable at this point.
I think I am most impressed with how Tyler Shuck kind of turned the Saints offense around a little bit. I remember last year when they went from Spencer Rattler to Tyler Shuck, and I didn't watch Tyler Shuck play. I was like, oh, what difference is this going to make? You know, how much better could Tyler Shuck really be than Spencer Rattler? I honestly don't think Spencer Rattler's that bad. Tyler Shuck is a baller. I love his film. I liked watching him play last year. Oh, do we have an NFL trades bomb?
Okay, so someone mentioned this, and I was going to mention it before this actually dropped. But so he obviously was coming off a knee injury, right? So obviously there's medical problems, and he's been in Baltimore for the past couple of days. He did not pass his physical. So the trade had to be obviously disrupted, and it ultimately failed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what that does for in terms of him playing, even with the Raiders. But yeah, the knee injury definitely is, and just the medical overall just is why he did not pass that physical.
Well,
wow.
Guess you'll have that sometimes.
What's his name? Elton Jenkins didn't pass physical. Elton Jenkins from the Packers also was released with a non-passing of physical designation. So it happens. It happens to the best athletes.
Just laughing at this tweet said, "Who's stopping this Jets offense? Geno Smith, Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Hayden Mitchell, and Mason Taylor, tight end." And somebody replied and listed every NFL team.
Themselves.
Somebody replied, Geno Smith. Oh, man.
I saw a picture of every quarterback the Jets have started from when they drafted Geno Smith to now. And it said it all. Someone commented and was like, it all comes back. It all circles back to Geno Smith. You know, I've started there and now he's back. Crazy.
What's also funny too is the actual most memorable trade in recent memory in which a player was sent back was the Terrell Owens trade back in 2004, which funny enough was the Ravens again, and the trade didn't actually come to fruition. I can't remember exactly why, but yeah, I mean it's just funny that the Ravens are on the bad side of this with two of some of the greater players of our time.
Well, it's been an interesting few days. A lot of new names, new places. Some people have re-signed, like Alec Pierce back to the Colts, but some people have gone to teams. That's the fun of free agency for anything, for silly season, NASCAR, free agency, in the NBA, MLB, NFL. It's fun to see those faces in new places. As far as ball, we're talking ball here as we kind of wrap things up. USA, big win last night against Mexico in baseball. We are 3-0 in pool play in the World Baseball Classic. It was close. I won't say we put belt to ass, but it was close. 5-3. Paul Skeens took care of business at the beginning. Had a little rough bullpen stretch there. Had some starters come out of the pen that sometimes can be hit or miss. And so Skeeter gets it done. Now we play again tonight against Italy to wrap up the pool play. Technologically speaking, if we're not guaranteed, we're like 99% for sure in the next round of things, or quarterfinals, semifinals. I don't know what you call it, but we do still kind of need to win this game against Italy, just because Italy still is undefeated at the moment. So we got Bobby Witt leading things off, absolute dog last night. So we'll be exciting. I believe 9:00 Eastern on FS1. Team USA plays. So we'll be rooting them on through the World Baseball Classic. So nonetheless, as far as football, next thing up kind of after free agency is the NFL draft. That'll be coming up at the end of April. Going to be very exciting stuff, obviously, in Pittsburgh, which means a lot to these two gents here beside me. But just for everybody, I think it's going to be a really exciting draft this year. Obviously, not the quarterback heavy draft that we were looking for, but allows you to kind of look at the other guys and other positions. Look at these receivers, look at these running backs, look at these guys in the defensive side. I know I'll certainly be looking there as a Saints fan. You guys will be looking there as Steelers fans. So really a lot of fun. Us three as a trio, we're going to have some football stuff. Obviously, the Motor Stardom stuff will be separate, but had to swing in here, give ball some love. But we will be having some exciting football stuff coming up next year. Again, long off season, but we will have the draft in April, and then we'll have probably some training camp stuff, season stuff. We'll get that all planned out as we go here. But looking forward to it. It's great to talk about some football again. Free agency, exciting few days here. Not everybody signed yet, though. Cam Jordan's still looking for a team. Who wants him, man? Who wants Cam Jordan?
Hey, who wants Kyler Murray, man? He's out there.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's out there as well.
Vikings.
Hey, who want Taysom Hill? Who want Taysom Hill?
I wouldn't mind Taysom Hill in the black and gold. I think
Taysom Hill and the minimum deal on the Steelers would be kind of crazy. But I don't know. We'll see. But any last comments before we sign off here, gentlemen?
Steelers to the Super Bowl.
Oh boy.
You have to cut out that clip of me falling out of my chair when Max Crosby.
Sadly enough, this is live, Nick. Everyone in this chat saw you fall out of your chair.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Got to read everybody's hot takes. Kind of just thrown together episode. Hot takes, talk about NFL free agency. Next week on the Motor Stardom Show, we got Ryan Ellis joining us. Big time stuff from the O'Reilly series. Austin Green will also be joining us. He joined us last year. It was a fun episode. Mason Maggio returns. We might have some more surprises for you next week as well. And hopefully Team USA Baseball has itself in the semifinals or finals wherever we are next week. So it's a great time to be a sports fan, great time to be a ball fan, great time to be a racing fan. Las Vegas this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series. Who's everybody got? Tanner, who's your pick?
I think it's going to be another Penske driver. I think it's going to translate directly from Phoenix. May not be Ryan Blaney directly, but I would like to see that. I think I'm going to stick with Ryan Blaney. I think he'll get it done back to back.
Hey, Nick knows.
That's what I was gonna go Blaney. I was gonna go Blaney back to back. Seems like it's gonna be that type of season.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna switch away from the Ford here. I'm gonna go Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson has had Las Vegas on lockdown the last few years. I think Larson gets it done. But definitely watch out for Penske. We'll see. But again, 1.5-mile track. It's the traditional NASCAR cookie cutter track they call it this weekend. This is where we really find out. Look, I'm sure, Nick, as you've learned, if you've seen these first few with Daytona, crazy, Atlanta, wild, Circuit of the Americas, a road course. Tyler Reddick somehow won all three of them. But unpredictable stuff. Now we kind of get back to some traditional racing here. Las Vegas this weekend, O'Reilly on Saturday night, 7:30, Cup 4 o'clock on FS1. Tune in. Talk about it all next Tuesday night. See ya.